Alright, switch up from the worm farm. These are my home bins. This is my dog Ellie. And that's my awesome view from my backyard. Oh, Ellie. I'm talking and you're not getting attention. You need all the attention. Good girl. So I got two. Been running them for a few years. This is their second container. They were just in a tote. First time doing them fully outside. They've gotten a little cold, but a week ago I opened one up and there was lots of live worms. Now I'm not going to open it up today. You can see I haven't fed in a while because they're a little slow. Put some boxes on there for insulation. This one isn't super interesting. It's kind of new. I split the worms the other day using a lot of leaves that I raked up in my yard and just kind of piled. They'd just been sitting in the water outside, sitting in the rain. And they were ready to be put in there. So I split this tub into that one. We'll see if these new ones survive because it got really cold after I did that. Hey, you're ruining the video, but you're also really pretty, so it's okay. I'll go get you some foods before I go to work. Alright, so a couple days I'll come open this up when it's warm. It's been about 20 degrees the last couple days, so don't want to open it up and shock them right now. Alright, so yeah, it's cold. I went in the truck to get away from the cold a little bit. So those bins at my house are awesome. I've had worms for about 3 or 4 years now. It's been great. In the spring, summer, and fall, we don't really throw out kitchen waste or food waste or really even like small boxes and things like that. They just get shredded and put in there. I didn't shred the pizza boxes it was about November. I put those in just because I figured they'd be good semi-insulation. But like I said, I opened that a few weeks ago and it had been cold lately, and it was a warm day, so I figured, well, I'll turn a scoop or two and see if there's worms in there, see if they all died, because it's my first time keeping the big bins outside. They were tons and tons and tons of them, all doing fine, thriving, eating the food that's underneath there, eating the leaves that I put in there in the fall. I don't know how they've done the last couple days because you can see it's, I don't know if that'll focus, it's 25 right now, and it's been even colder than that the last few days. But either worms are tougher than we're told, or I have enough mass in there that it retains a little pocket just above 40 that they can get into and they can survive just fine. I haven't noticed any major die-offs in the bins. I've had them in that garage that they're up against, and that's not heated or anything like that, and that'll get down below freezing too. And for the last few years I've had them in there and they've done great. This is my first time moving them outside because I put them in a bigger bin, and I wanted them easier access for us just to take bowls of scraps and dump them in there when we want to. But yeah, in a couple days when it warms up, I'll open it up and take some more footage for you guys and get this video going. Yeah, so it's actually gotten even colder. I didn't let my temperature gauge get down low enough. Let me turn off the heat. So it's actually about 20 degrees. That's been the average for the last 3 days since we've had a couple big storms come through, and there's another one coming through this evening. The reason I started doing worms, like I said, I've had my home bins for about 4 years now, maybe a little less than that. But it all started pretty soon after I got really interested in aquaponics and hydroponics, and so I got that big garage next to my house and I started building a system in there because one of my friends showed me some videos about it, and I just found it fascinating that you could build these almost self-sustaining systems. And so I built one myself, and it was really bad, but I ran it for over 2.5 years. Sorry, I keep shaking the camera. And it was a lot of fun. And during that time, I was doing tons of experiments because my whole thing was I wanted to build a system that was self-sustainable and with very little input. And the issue was I found out there's some limits to aquaponics that I don't know enough to figure out how to get around yet. I came up with some cool new systems. I actually was able to apply for some patents on a couple things I came up with that worked really, really well and were really interesting, and I hadn't seen done before in all my research, and hours and hours and hours of watching videos and going and visiting other people who were doing it. But I had a lot of ways to do it during all these experiments. I was pulling plants out all the time, and the ones I couldn't eat, I'd eat the ones I could. Some would get aphid infestations, and so they were unedible, or they would die during my experiments. I killed lots of plants just doing crazy experiments trying to get things to work. So I wanted to start a compost pile, but I didn't have any place in the yard. And then that same friend who turned me on to aquaponics is like, hey, you should try worms too, because they go hand in hand. And he just kind of stumbled upon them in his research and his passion and obsession with aquaponics as well. So I got a bin and I went down to the gas station and I bought some fishing worms because I had no idea what I was doing. So I tossed the fishing worms in there and tossed a whole bunch of food in there. And this is one of my problems. I just like when I hear something, I think, oh, that's easy, and I don't do very much research and I just jump into it. And they all died and just turned into a rotting mess in the bin. And so I decided, well, maybe I should do the bare minimum of research first, actually give it some effort. So I looked out, realized I was doing everything wrong. And then I built a nice bed with bedding and only a little bit of food. And I bought the right worms, bought some red worms and put them in there. And it started going really well. It started kind of slow because I started in the fall and I was doing it through the winter. And they were doing okay. They were eating most our kitchen scraps, but they'd fall behind a little bit. They loved the pumpkins from Halloween. And then I was kind of getting bored of it. I wouldn't think of it very much. I'd throw plants from the aquaponic system in there, the ones that would survive over the winter and kind of grow during my experiments. And all of a sudden in the spring, I opened up the lid one day and the whole thing's just crawling with baby worms. They had been laying eggs and they had all hatched, and I got really excited. And then I put half a watermelon in there and watched it disappear in less than a week. And it just caught my attention, and I was like, why doesn't everyone have one of these in their home, getting rid of all their kitchen scraps? Why are we sending any of this stuff to the landfill? And so that kind of became my not new passion. I still do aquaponics. In fact, on this channel, I'm building a new system right now. If you guys want to see me do that, or kind of see some off subject from worm videos based on those types of things, let me know, and we can start adding some variety to this sort of stuff. Oh, I was getting a phone call. I'd happily do some different types of videos and things like that. I have some build videos for some worm boxes that I'm gonna try some experiments with that I'm gonna add to. So we'll get some variety to this channel. But what was I saying? Yeah, I just kind of thought, why doesn't everyone do this? And why are we sending all this organic waste to landfill? The normal thing someone would think of when they think of this sort of thing, because I'm really kind of anti-waste and anti-littering and stuff like that. So this kind of went, like everybody is. This went along with that, and so it just kind of grew from there. And my wife wasn't fully on board at first, but now she told me not too long ago, she's like, I kind of feel bad throwing things away that I know the worms could eat, but the winter it's hard because we live where it's cold and they don't stay very active, so they don't eat very much. But it's just been really, really exciting. And so eventually I just kind of got the thought, I'm like, well, I should start a bigger worm farm. And these castings are amazing. I've used them in my garden and I've given them to friends to use, and they're just incredible. I'm like, well, I would like to get into that business and maybe eventually quit my day job and just do that. That would be just amazing, because I knew I'd never have the capital to start a big aquaponics farm like I wanted to. Maybe eventually I will, but right now it looks like I'm going to go with worms because I find them more interesting, more fun, less headache, get outside a little bit more. And the current worm farm, you know, my goal is to limit waste going to landfill. Right now I'm just using manures and, you know, finished compost and stuff like that, so I'm not really meeting that goal. But eventually I want to get to restaurants and grocery stores, people throwing out food, and maybe even do like a residential collection type program and just keep things out of the landfill and put them in my compost piles, let them get good for the worms and feed them to the worms instead of creating more waste for the world. Well, it went from being freezing cold to 50 degrees in just a few days. I mean, look how fast the water's coming out of that pipe over there by Ellie. So let's see how my worms did. It was very, 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 very cold. Put this to show you for right now. This bag, it's all one-handed, that's fun. Oh, got a lot. A lot of worms. That's awesome. So this is my no rules bin. I just throw in whatever I have that is organic waste. They look a little cold, but they're not dead. That's awesome. Old egg carton that they've torn through. That's awesome. All right, I'll leave them be. I'll take some out later, and we'll look at this. In my bin with mostly just leaves, there's also a lot of worms that are doing just fine. That's awesome. Looks like they've survived most of the winter so far. So I know these are kind of expensive for worm bins. I had them for my aquaponics system, but while I'm doing my rebuild, I just they're just the 100-gallon Rubbermaid things, tubs. So I didn't drill any holes in them because I plan on using them for other stuff in the future when I move my worms out to something better. All I did was basically make a drain to let it drain out, and that drain comes out back in there. And then this one is just open on the back and kind of leaning towards the wall, and it all just kind of falls down in the dirt over here. I've seen that's been enough to keep it drained in the right moisture levels. They're doing really awesome. I mean, I've had them run them for about a year now. They're obviously, you saw the worms are thriving in them. One of the interesting things about, I mean, I haven't fed this worm bin in a month or so because it's been so cold. But you can see it's moldy on top. Let me dig down a little bit and find some. Ellie, you're all right. Yeah, see, there's just tons and tons of worms in here, and the temperature is below 40. So, I mean, it's actually been kind of fun to do this worm bin because I know there's a lot of videos like, oh, don't put this in your worm bin, don't put that in your worm bin. It's actually all pretty good advice to follow. That doesn't mean I followed it. I would put anything in this. I put onions, pineapple, oranges. I just put it all in. Anything that comes out of my kitchen goes in here. And my worms just thrive. They just go nuts. They've never had a huge die-off. They've always been going out of control. I've had a couple times where they've tried to make a break for it. I'll post a quick video of that I filmed a few years ago. Anyway, in a sec, I'm gonna come grab some of this tonight and take a video. I have a pretty cool little microscope. I kind of want to look through what's in this bin and see what sort of stuff we can find. It's been years of just putting any old thing I can grab that'll break down. Anyway, we'll see what's in there. We'll see what we can identify and what sort of other animals and fungus and stuff are living down in there. It should be a lot of fun. Before people wonder, Ellie's got a nice comfy place to live outside of the cold. She's got down underneath there. It's a little muddy and dirty right now. It's It's been raining and snowing so much, I gotta come in here and sweep it out again. She's got her water. She's got her little cubby hole, but then she got her little bedding area. But hey, Els. Oh, watch out. Watch out. You want out? You want out? All right, come on, come on. Hey, girl. Oh, come on, act like you've been here before. You're a good girl. All right, let's go look at some worms. First off, let's look at what we got just on the surface before we get down low. I mean, it's been cold, so things aren't breaking down on their own really well. We got grass clippings and leaves and a bunch of old castings I scooped up. I only scooped the top level. We got some sticks. Oh, there's some worms. I don't see very many. Oh, there's some mites and things like that. All right, let's get really close with it. All right. So I recently bought this really cool little microscope for 25 bucks. It just kind of popped up as a deal. So I figured I'd go for it because I really wanted to look at some worms with it. So we're gonna give it a shot, see how it goes. Just hooks up to your phone. It's pretty small, pretty straightforward. It's got a little suction cup base. This just snaps in here. All right, we're good to go. Almost. Gonna plug it into my phone. Had to get an adapter for it. Actually, I think it came with this adapter. I pulled it out a few days ago to play with it, and my kids loved it. We were looking at all sorts of stuff. They kept bringing me things to look at. All right, cool. All right, let's switch over to this view now. Hey, you need attention, don't you? I'm sitting right here and I'm not petting you. How are you going to survive? I had to take a brief intermission while I got something to suction cut this down to. I had to put Ellie away for a minute because she kept bumping the table and bumping me. So she'll be back out to play soon, but right now I need her away. Okay, I think our setup is good. Let's get some cool close-up video. Now we're a little bit clearer. Oh, let's see if I can get focused on that. Yummy. Yeah, we are right up on that worm. Trying to get, oh, he's kind of moving. Oh, that was cool. I'm trying to get another view of that. Did you guys see that? Oh, shoot, come on, focus. Look at those spikes. Look at that. When he goes to move, those little spikes come out. Come on, worm, do it again. He's not very happy. That's cool. Yeah, that's how they move, huh? They got little backwards facing spikes on them. Absolutely fascinating. Alright, let me try and find one that's a little colder. This one's getting warmed up. And he's not a fan of my light. Obviously. I wouldn't be either if I was a worm. It's a bright light. Let's get another look at the body really quick. Focus. See the slime coming off him.
just awesome. There's those spikes again. All right, let's try something different. Let's put this worm back so he can live happily. He's really stressed out from the light. Not real nice of me to keep him in it for so long. Let's look at some mites. And something else living right there too. Let's try and focus. Oh, there we got a good shot on that one. Look at him. He's a little cold. It's nice that I can just move the plate. Huh. Oh, he's getting out of focus. Chubby little guys, huh? There he goes. Let's see what this thing is right here. What are you? You're alive, aren't you? Right next to the other mite. That is the head of something. A maggot, maybe? Where are you going? I can't even see with my naked eye what I'm actually looking at. I'm trying to look down where the microscope is. I can see the white specks, but I can't pick that little thing out with my naked eye. Oh, we got something else above here. Oh, it's another mite down in there. Got one above here. Got a couple. Let's try and focus on them. Oh, good. They're in the same, almost the same field of view here. Almost the same focus distance. Look at them go. These are just your basic white mites. I don't know the actual scientific name of them, but you see them in every single worm bed. Pretty cool. This is a neat little microscope. All right, found something cool in the bin. Let's see if I can focus on it. I think it's what I think it is. Never seen one with a point that big on it though. Worm casting, or not casting, cocoon. Now the reason they get this lemon shape is because they actually kind of slide out of it. It's basically the ring on their body kind of turns into the cocoon, and so when they slide out of it, it leaves pointed ends. At least that's how I understood it to be happening when I watched it. Pretty cool. This one's pretty old. It'll probably hatch in the next few weeks as it warms up. I kind of got a look on one's mouth. That's what I want to see, is its mouth. It's eating. Oh, it'll lay back down, get focused again. Lost it. Oh, there it is. Oh, but not focused. Dang it. I would concentrate a lot. Looks like a mite hitching a ride on it. Maybe 2 different types. There's his face. Sorry for the shaky camera. This is actually really hard footage to get. Cool. That's awesome. Just for fun, we're going to try and look at some fungus. If I can get to focus on such fine details. It's kind of a lattice of mycelium or whatever. Really hard to focus on it. There's kind of a good shot. Here's a better look at some fungus on a leaf. So one thing a lot of people do know about worms that play with worms, but they actually don't eat a lot of the food themselves. They eat the bacteria and the fungus mostly. That's doing the real heavy lifting of breaking everything down. Ooh, that's good. Good focus right there. So the worms are just kind of cleanup crew of the cleanup crew. I've heard that, oh, that's an interesting part right there, that the worms will basically release all the nutrients that are in the fungus and bacteria. And that's what makes worm casting so good. Again, that's just what I've heard. I need to do more research to find out how true that is. Okay, before I go, there's his mouth. There's his mouth. Lost it. Come back. Oh man, it's hard to get that focused. He was eating a little bit. That was kind of cool. Got a small shot of that. So that was awesome. That was really fun. I really like this little microscope, even though it's not the best. It was really hard. It was able to focus on moving things though. For being only 23 or 25 bucks, it's pretty sweet. I'll try to do some more videos with it in the future. Kind of want to get a cocoon hatching. That'd be really sweet to catch that. I'll put a link for this in the description. It's totally worth getting if you got an extra 25 bucks laying around. If anything, just to play around with. Anyway, thanks for watching. Appreciate all the support and the views and the advice and comments I get. If you want me to do any special type of video, just let me know in the comments.